How many of you guys know about this whole Chris Chan thing? Because I've literally never heard of it before. Not you. You just know he's a bad dude? Wow, more of you than I would have thought. I've literally never heard of this Chris Chan guy. I don't know how. Usually I know about all the nonsense, but apparently not. Let's go!
On the 24th of February 1982, Christian Weston Chandler was born as Christopher Weston Chandler. Parents Robert Franklin Chandler
Christopher Weston Chandler, but his name is Chris Chan. I'm gonna have to slow this down sometimes.
Jr. and Barbara Ann Weston in Martha Jefferson Hospital, Virginia. One of Chris's earliest memories was being locked in a dark room at 18 months old by an
Oh, that's not good.
abusive babysitter named Roach, which he claimed was the event that caused his autism. This would have
I don't think... I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not gonna speak on it.
lasting consequences. This event also caused him to be a mute for the next 6 years. When Chris
But that stinks. That sucks. That's really unfortunate.
was 2 years old, he would meet his original gal pal, Sarah Hammer. In 1987, Chris would attend
So I admit, what's a gal pal?
6 years. When Chris was 2 years old, he would meet his original gal
Meaning female friend. Okay.
pal, Sarah Hammer. In 1987, Chris would attend Greene County Primary School, where he would then leave in 1990 to attend Nathaniel Greene Elementary School, where he would have the most traumatic experience of his life. Chris claimed while he was there, he would be abused by staff members. He recalls times where he was pinned to the ground by multiple staff members, and his cries were recorded, and later was forced to sit on his homosexual principal's lap and listen to him say inappropriate and offensive things to him.
This is unfortunate. This guy's... Some people be like, oh, I had a tough childhood, and it's because their mom made them do the dishes every night. No, I don't think you did.
Chris would then leave Nathaniel Greene to be homeschooled. In 1991, Sonic the Hedgehog would be released.
What? How did we get to this? I don't. A crazy transition, but anyway, let's keep going.
Beginning Chris's lifelong obsession. In 1992, he would change his name from Christopher to Christian after a bear animatronic at the mall mistakenly called him Christian. Chris took this as a sign from God. In 1993, Chris would attend Providence.
I mean, shit, you know, if you have a terrible life like that, you know, anything could be a sign from God.
Middle school, and later that year would win the Sonic the Hedgehog Watch and Win sweepstakes, becoming the first of his many TV appearances.
Oh damn, there really is some deep lore here. They got like an actual video of him as a kid.
1996 would be an eventful year for Chris. He would begin attending Manchester High School, where he claimed he had the best years.
Super chat! Chucky!
$2. Yo.
Yo, what up, Chucky? Thank you.
His life. It was also around this time where he would create his first ever original character, Bionic, after being hit in the head with a basketball at school. Also in that year, the Pokemon
how does getting hit in the head with the... I gotta stop pausing so much. This is 20 minutes.
franchise would be released in North America, beginning another of Chris's lifelong obsessions. In 1998, he began to use the internet to spread his creations by launching his first website, Quicks Pocus.
Well, this is a cool story so far. He had a rough childhood, very rough childhood, and now he's like a drawer. This is... How can this go wrong?
Quick being a word based on his initials, CWC. In 2000, Chris would turn 18 years old, and on March of that year, the world would be changed forever. Chris was tasked with creating an album cover for his computer graphics class. One of the requirements was he couldn't use any copyrighted characters. So to avoid copyright, he would combine his two greatest obsessions, Sonic and Pikachu, creating the infamous Sonichu!
Never heard of this before.
Sorry, I couldn't contain my excitement. In late 2000, Chris would graduate high school, losing contact with nearly all his friends. In September of 2000, Chris would begin attending Piedmont, Virginia Community College, studying computer-aided drafting and design. In October, he would launch his first...
This is a good story so far. I don't see what's going wrong yet.
...website dedicated to Sonichu, Quick's Sonichu site. And later that winter, the prized historical artifact known as the Sonichu Medallion would be created. In 2003, Chris would realize how lonely he was and begin his love quest, a journey that's destination would be getting a girlfriend. To find his boyfriend-free girl, he would create something called the attraction sign, which would hang around campus that read, seeking a
21 and single white male, seeking female companion. Oh, I don't think the hoes are gonna love that.
An 18 to 21-year-old single female companion, along with his contact information. Eventually, the Dean of Student Services, Mary Lee Walsh, came into contact with Chris and tore it down on the grounds that Chris was soliciting sex. This caused Chris to spag the fuck out. Later, Chris would create the first ever comic involving his characters, known as Sonichu number 0, which is the first issue, even though it says the 0th issue on it. For some reason, Chris formats his comic really weirdly. Each issue has multiple episodes to it, but the number doesn't reset like chapters in a book. No, it doesn't fucking do that, because that would make too much sense. So you have episodes where...
This guy's really mad about that. Why are you so mad?
It's episode 19, which is also part of issue 9, if that makes any sense. There are also sub-episodes which are unrelated stories about Chris's life. Issue 0 details the origin of Sonichu is created when Super Sonic collides with Pikachu while fighting the perfect chaos monster from Sonic. Chris also writes
say what you will about the man, but he's creative. He's doing something.
episode, which is about a real-life encounter with mall security, which Chris calls jerk hops, where they get mad at him for apparently soliciting. This is based on a real event that happened in real life. In July of 2003, Chris began trying to find women at his local mall.
Huh. That's something there.
Holding his attraction sign and sitting in a populated area. Later at the game place, he would meet a new gal pal known as Megan Schroeder, who would try to win over in various Quagmirian ways. In September, Chris would be arrested and banned from his local mall because his means of getting a girlfriend were deemed as soliciting. Later, he would be suspended from—
Wait, you just set up a booth, looking for a girlfriend? I mean, shit, that's effort there. I mean, as long as he's not being weird about it, let the man do it.
PVCC for the same reasons. On February 5th of 2005, Anna McLaren wrote a blog post about seeing Chris at the mall known as The Tale of the Crazy Pacer, making it the first ever documentation of Chris online that didn't come from Chris himself. On the 29th of March, Chris would be approached by a woman named Hannah at the mall, where she would ask him out on a date as a joke. Eventually, Chris
he draws all the women he meets? That's weird.
Found out Hannah was never actually interested in him. After confronting her and realized the truth, Chris let out a big NO! Terrifying other customers, which led him to being banished from the mall once again. On his 25th birthday in 2007, Chris would create his iconic future message video. During this time, Chris would be getting especially hands-on with Megan. Chris would enter the Chop Chop Master Onions Rapid Showdown contest online in hopes of winning a trip to Seattle, which he planned on taking Megan to. Chris would try to ensure his victory in this contest by emailing everyone he's ever met, telling them to vote in his contest, and staying up all night making
Say what you will about the man, but he's definitely got, he's got some effort.
Accounts to rig the voting. On August 3rd, the results of the
It's gonna get worse, save your mind? How bad can it be?
contest were released, and the winner turned out to be a man by the name of Adam Stackhouse. This, for some reason, gave Chris the wrath of Satan himself! And caused him to make a bunch of videos threatening Adam Stackhouse. On the 26th of October 2007, Chris was found by the Something Awful forums, introducing the world to Chris Chan. Shortly after, an Encyclopedia Dramatica page was created to compile all the information discovered about Chris on Something Awful. Encyclopedia Dramatica is a site that's meant to be like Wikipedia, but as foul and as offensive as possible. So when Chris saw it, he was not pleased. To make matters worse, Chris and his characters had become the new thing to make—
He seems like the type of guy to be like, now I'm mad, and then, you know, he just, it's not intimidating.
Fun of on 4chan's V-board, leading a man by the name of Evan Christopher George starts sending Chris gay fan art the boards have been making about him. Chris, being the Aryan that he is, was not pleased by this fan art. In response to seeing so much gay fan art of his characters, Chris would have a brilliant idea. He would draw
That's a crazy troll for to have someone be like I don't know what you call animator, drawer, and then just keep sending them gay fan art of their characters is crazy.
Porn of his characters. One image being
Good morning,
himself,
Satan!
An unknown woman known as She Came for a Quick.jpg, who was eventually identified as his friend Megan. This would have lasting consequences.
Wait, say that one more time for me, boss.
JPEG, who was eventually image being of Chris himself, an unknown woman known as She Came for a Quick.jpg, who was eventually identified as his friend Megan.
That's not good. Can't do that.
This would have lasting consequences. 3 months later, in March of 2008, Megan discovered She Came for a Quick.jpg and was understandably horrified and cut all ties with Chris shortly after. Also in August, a group of trolls came together under the alias of Blanca Weiss to catfish Chris Chan and trick him into sending them his medallion. In October, trolls posing as Blanca would receive the Sonichi medallion in the mail from Chris and film a video destroying it. After going on hiatus from releasing new comics, trolls would inform Chris that a boy named Brian Cash had killed himself after hearing that he would no longer be creating Sonichu comics. This, of course, being completely made up just to fuck with Chris.
Oh my god.
In early January, Chris would meet a woman named Julie online and quickly start a relationship with her. Even though he was already in another troll—
He's gotta have some sort of riz. I mean, he's not a very attractive looking man, but he's still getting these girls. What is he doing?
Relationship at the time with the username Panda Halo. It was around this time that Chris would soon become aware of his new arch nemesis known as Clyde Cash, brother of Ryan Cash. In February, Chris had learned that Panda Halo had apparently died in a bushfire in Australia, which Chris seemed to get over really quickly, immediately moving on to date Julie. Towards the end of the month, Chris learned that the trolls had formed a group called the Miscreants that dedicated to ensuring Chris would never get laid.
Oh my gosh, what is he doing to have people like create cults against him? This is insane. Is this 4chan people? This reeks of 4chan.
Prince would inform Chris they had captured Julie and were sending her to China. So in response, Chris would make the 400-mile journey to Cleveland, Ohio to save Julie. When he reached the address of Julie's house, he finds an old rundown house with no relation to Julie at all. The 3rd of March would go down in Chris' career as possibly the worst ever day of Chris's life. Julie's fake brother, who was voiced by the same troll as Julie, would hack into Chris's PSN account to use his blackmail for Chris. Chris would join a mumble chat with Max to negotiate with him giving back his PSN, but Chris was forced to shove his Sonichu medallion up his ass while being recorded. Later, the troll posing as Julie would—
What?
giving back his PSN, but Chris was forced to shove his Sonichu medallion up his ass while being recorded. Later—
This is... How have I never heard about this? This is ridiculous.
The troll posing as Julie would audio call Chris on Mumble and reveal himself to Chris. After having his heart broken by another fake online girlfriend, Chris would link up with a new fake girlfriend.
Zomba chat!
19 kilometers blessed orange peanut with
Thank you.
$6.90.
Thank you.
Peanut, I just bought some M&M's as Friday snack. Hope you don't see me any different because of it. Smile.
I don't see you any different, 19 kilometers. Congratulations on making it to Friday. Enjoy those M&Ms. So we got to spin the wheel, and we will, but I'm going to finish this reaction first because it's going to be a video. Let's start the goal again.
They played by a real girl this time, which is kind of a step up, I guess. Emily and Chris would plan a date at Charlottesville Fashion Square, but Chris actually stood her up because his parents were fighting over if she was real or not. They then rescheduled the date to take place 2 days later.
Over if she was real or not?
Chris unknowingly falling right into her plan. Chris would meet up with Ivy, accompanied by his dad for some fucking reason. When suddenly the man in the—
You gotta blame the dad at that point. Why is the dad what do you call it? Not endangering, indulging in his, encouraging his, enabling his actions.
The pickle suit would descend from the heavens to cuck Chris, taking Emily from him. On the 17th of March, another fake new love interest named Ivy would reach out to Chris asking for a shout out, which would quickly lead to a relationship forming between the two of them. For some fucking reason, Chris ramped up the creepiness by about 10 notches with her.
Hi, Ivy. I love you.
Remember, all this happened in the span—
Oh, this is gonna be controversial, maybe offensive. I don't know what I'm about to say. But this is going on the second channel, so no one's even gonna see it. So I don't really care. But I'm just being honest. If someone is clearly highly autistic, don't enable them and let them, do crazy things. Keep them in reality. Like, I'm not saying, I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying, to be honest. But, like, the whole reason this guy, who is clearly autistic, is going down such a terrible rabbit hole is because people see that, and they're just taking advantage of it to see how far down he can go. This is exactly what's happening with the World of T-Shirts guy, who's the alcoholic, where people are, like, trying to see him get as drunk as possible. Like, you're just, like, it's I don't know. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about, to be honest. But I don't know if that was offensive, but whatever.
And about a month, and Chris was with 3 different women. What an absolute fucking pimp! A troll.
This is way better than what Gary Tinkle went through. Who is Gary Tinkle? We can't, one thing at a time.
Messaged Chris pretending to be Vanessa Hudgens, and they had e-sex. Ivy found out they had e-sex and got mad at Chris, so Chris in response proposed to Ivy. Eventually, Chris would realize Ivy was a troll and return to his old methods of attracting women in public. In June, Chris would go to a local bar with the troll.
This dude don't quit. This doesn't quit at all.
Kim Wilson, who, side note, is played by the same—
I'm too unk for this kind of video. Everything is going by so fast, I don't even retain any of the information. Maybe it's a good thing because of the nature of the video. Well, yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not really retaining much of this either. I'm kind of just getting the high points. But it's probably a good thing. I don't want, like, half of my brain to be stuffed with Chris Chan knowledge.
As Emily. Chris somehow saw both personas in real life and in person, and somehow didn't realize that they were the same person playing different characters. It would take Chris 11 years to realize the woman behind both personas was a troll. Chris would continue going to bars with Kim Wilson and would land a date with a fat woman who would quickly ghost him after their first interaction. In mid-July, Chris would have the brilliant idea to troll the trolls. He would attempt to get them to think he was actually playing a character this whole time, and that Kristen Weston Chandler was never a real person. He'd do this by uploading a video where he pretends to be a normal person known as Rollin' and Trollin'. This is what Chris thinks a normal person looks like. Later, a man who fans would dub Liquid Chris would begin uploading videos to YouTube pretending to be Chris and would claim he made lots of money off the Sonic Shoe franchise. Chris was not pleased and would make the first of many videos manically screeching about Liquid, which eventually would start back and forth.
This is too much for me. Let's just skip to the end to see what happens to him. This is, I'm sure I'm gonna miss a lot. Wait, there's a most replayed. Let me see what happens here.
Not be respecting! In the following at GameStop during one of his acts of protest. In January, the repairs on his house were finished and he'd moved back into his old house. In May of 2015, it was revealed that Chris was possibly taking—
We're still only in 2015, my lord.
Hormone replacement pills, and would soon after begin using the name Christine and going by female pronouns. Which
Transgender. Was not expecting that.
I will not be respecting! In the following month, he would attend his final court case and—
Are we gonna get, like, the plot twist? Like, he's gonna be the person in that video who was like, "It's ma'am! It's ma'am!" That would be crazy.
He charged with $541 for the pepper spray incident. In January of 2016, Chris would advertise his idea of a lesbian sleepover party to the internet, and surprisingly, no one was interested. In July, after watching hours worth of male-to-female hypnosis videos on YouTube, Chris would begin to believe—
Hypnosis? That's interesting.
That is China was forming beneath his taint. So Chris would use a knife and cut it out of his body. Members of the Kiwi Farms would start begging Chris to receive medical attention because an injury like this could easily have killed him. Luckily, after enough convincing, Chris would go see a doctor. In August, Chris would defend.
Okay, we saw the most replay part. Let's skip to the end. I am no longer enjoying this. Oh! Wow, the story has progressed a lot. Wait, is that him or is that a lady?
An animated intro for Chris. In February of 2021, Chris and the Praetors would start selling custom Sonichi medallions. Later in February, Chris would have the idea of using a stun gun to tase a quartz crystal to activate the dimensional merge. This idea is retarded, but thankfully the Praetors convinced Chris not to do it. And at the end of the month, Chris would finally cease being possessed by Sonichu. Around the time of Chris returning to himself,
Possessed. Wow, this is all over the place.
conversations with Bella would become more and more regular, with her planning to manipulate him into killing himself. In April, Chris would receive
What?
his government stimulus check and spend it all on magic rocks. Chris would also get vaccinated this month.
Hail Fauci! Hail Fauci!
Is that him?
Hail Fauci!
During the early summer of 2021, Chris would start mentioning his lust for a new sweetheart in this dimension, and shortly after would allude to having found his new sweetheart in this dimension. Unfortunately for the human race, Chris would reveal to Bella on an audio call that his new sweetheart in this dimension was actually his own mother. On the 29th of
Oh!
July, hell would
Oh no! Chris! No, Chris!
break loose. The user Eldude Rocks would leak the audio of Chris admitting to having sex with his own mother, and the next day,
Oh! What? What? How did we get here? How did we get here?
Chris would be removed from
You did warn me. You did warn me, and I didn't listen. So that's really on my
his house by social services. During this time, the internet would be set on fire, and the phrase "Chris Chan did what" became #1 on trending on Twitter, with thousands and thousands of posts detailing the news. And the next day, Chris would be arrested by jerk cops at an inn in Richmond. Shortly after the leak, Kiwi Farms would begin investigating the woman on the phone with Chris and the leaked audio. There's a lot more lore about her, and she's really yucky, so go somewhere else to learn the stuff.
I'm okay. I'm frankly alright.
Chris would begin the first of many court dates relating to his affair with his mother. Over a month later, Chris would send a letter to the Knoll of the Kiwi Farms detailing how Chris is actually Jesus. In October, trolls would start sending letters to Chris trying to get him to convert to Islam, which were unsuccessful. In February, the court would deem Chris too noted and schizo to stand a trial. During this time, Chris would be sending letters and drawings to the outside world with
Put him in a mental hospital. Get him out of here.
some of the most insane shit I've ever seen in my life, including Chris claiming that he is Jesus and now goes by Christ Chan. And in March, Chris would be out of custody. The website VineLink would list Chris as bonded out, but would be quickly changed to released by court order. And as of now, Chris has gone completely dark for the first time in decades.
Alright, well let's hope that keeps up. I regret watching this. I did not need to know about any of this. How have I never heard of this? Oh my gosh. My goodness.
Orange Peanut wants you to subscribe because he needs more money.